Hello, everyone. So today's notes are on dividing fractions. Once again, this should be a review from fifth grade. If not, it's going to be brand new. So in fifth grade, you probably used the term keep, change, flip when it came to dividing fractions. We're still going to use this in sixth grade. So for example, let's say I have 1/2 divided by 3/4. I need to make this into a multiplication problem because I can't divide with my fractions. So to change that, we're going to keep the first number, so 1/2, change the sign to the opposite. So since we have division, the opposite is multiplication, and then flip the last number. So this fraction will now become 4/3. Okay, so once again, keep, change, flip. You keep the first number, you change the sign, and you flip the fraction. Now, in sixth grade, we have some new terminology. So keep, change, flip is fifth grade. In sixth grade, we refer to it as something else. It is called multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal is also the same as keep, change, flip. So basically, all you need to know, reciprocal means to flip. So an example, if I have the number 5 and I ask for the reciprocal, if I were to flip that, well, I put a 1 underneath. The new number would be 1/5. If I had, let's say, 6/5, and I wanted the reciprocal, I would flip it and it would be 5/6. So once again, remember, keep, change, flip, and multiplying by the reciprocal mean the exact same thing. Now, here's another quick review. We talked about this when we did multiplying fractions. If you have a whole number, remember to make it a fraction, you need to put it over 1. For a mixed number, you'll use your Texas method. Our denominator does not change. And then I multiply and then add to get my improper fraction. All right, so our first situation is dividing a fraction by a whole number. First step, just like multiplying, make your whole number into a fraction. So I'm going to rewrite this as 8/1 divided by 2/5. Now I need to do my keep, change, flip, where I keep the first number, I change my sign, and I flip the second fraction. Now I have a multiplication problem and I can follow through using the same steps we talked about last time, where I multiply across and then simplify my answer. So the only thing we're adding in is that keep, change, flip. Now our next situation, dividing a fraction by a fraction. So I don't need to change any of the numbers, so I'm going to skip straight into my keep, change, flip, where I keep my first number, I change my division sign, and I flip that last fraction. So take a moment and try and solve this one on your own. All right, hopefully you solved this one. Now let's check our answers. Now if I multiply 1 times 8 gives me 8, 2 times 3 gives me 6. If you leave this as your answer, this will be counted wrong. You have to simplify. Well, I know the greatest common factor between these two numbers is 2. So 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. Now, you can leave your answer as an improper fraction, so 4/3 would be your answer. However, on today's homework assignment, it's going to ask you for a mixed number, possibly. So remember, to go to a mixed number, I need to divide my fraction. So the numerator, Nemo, remember Nemo gets captured, and Dory's out swimming free, the denominator. 3 cannot go into 4. I'm sorry, rephrase. 3 can go into 4 one time. And I stop here because now I take the number on top, that is my whole. The denominator does not change, so that 3 stays. And whatever your remainder is becomes your numerator. So 1 1/3 or 4/3 are the correct answers. All right, and then the last situation we have is dividing a fraction and a mixed number. Remember, with multiplication and division, we cannot do anything with a mixed number, therefore we have to change it. So take a moment, pause the video, and change that on your own. So at this point, I only asked you to change the mixed number into an improper fraction. Using my Texas method, I get 7/4. So now I can rewrite this problem as 1/4 divided by 7/4. Since everything is now changed, we can follow keep, change, flip. So I keep the first number, change the sign, and flip the fraction. If I multiply across, 1 times 4 gives me 4. 4 times 7 gives me 28. If I leave that as my final answer, it'll be counted wrong, so I have to simplify. So I know 4 is a common factor. So 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. 28 divided by 4 gives me 7. So 1/7 is your final answer. Now, I would like to point out that not all fractions need to be simplified. Let's say I ended up with the fraction of 11/13. There's no way for that to be simplified, so I would leave it alone. Okay, it's only if we have two numbers and I know they have a common factor that I need to simplify. All right, so next we have a word problem, and this is typically what you're going to see on a test. So you have to figure out what operation and which order to write the numbers in. I will tell you, this is a division problem, and yes, it does matter which number comes first. Multiplication, it didn't matter, but for division, it does. So take a moment and figure out what the answer should be. All right, hopefully you paused the video and tried to work this out on your own. So the problem says, each costume for the school shows 3 1/3 yards of material. How many costumes can be made from a 30-yard bolt of material? So I mentioned earlier, it is very important in division that you figure out which number needs to come first. Typically, the number that comes first is your total amount because that's what I need to separate or divide up. So 30 should come first, and 3 1/3 should come second. Now, before I go through and do my keep, change, flip, I need to make this an improper fraction. So this will become 30 divided by 10/3. If you do not know how I got 10/3, you will need to go back and look at your notes on changing mixed numbers to improper fractions. Now I can get started. So we're going to keep the first number, change the sign, and flip the fraction. And if you notice, Miss Davis forgot to do something. I forgot to put a 1 underneath that whole number. Very important. So now if I multiply across, 30 times 3 is 90. 1 times 10 is 10. In this situation, okay, I know that a fraction is also another type of division. It's just a division problem, all right? So all I have to do here is 90 divided by 10, and I get 9 as my final answer. All right, so now let's talk about your assignment for today. Please remember to go to Google Classroom. You'll see your upcoming assignments. Head on over to classwork. And underneath week 7, you will find today's fraction homework. I'm going to click on it. Now, this is a combination of multiplication and division problems. So you'll have to figure out, am I doing multiplication or am I doing division? There are also problems about how to make an improper fraction a mixed number. How do I make a mixed number improper? Okay, so we have to know how to do all that. This is going to be due the next time we meet. Okay, so check that due date in Google Classroom. Remember, if you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher. Y'all have a nice day.